Hello everybody, it's Wyron here with another bit of Total War Warhammer 2 quick match gameplay. This time around we are in the ruins of Enduil playing as Empire against the Dwarves in what is a very, very trolly match. For this comp you can already see we've brought 2 units of Hellstorm Rocket Battery. These guys can be potentially incredibly good against Dwarves. They outrange all Dwarven artillery, Dwarves tend to box up and blob up a lot. In the formations the Hellstorm can just wreak havoc on. And their formations are very clumped and tight, and they don't have the biggest HP per model, so you can often just get huge value out of your Hellstorm rockets. One of the few matchups where you can, in my opinion. So we've got 2 units of those. Now alongside that, for the front line here, a bunch of great swords mixed in with some Sigmar Suns and a leftover unit of spears. So, pretty conventional anti-infantry blob, backed by Karl Franz, who's stripped down on his horse. He's got standing your ground, foe seeker, and hold line for those buffs. Alongside him, a Jade Wizard with Regrowth Earthblood, Life Bloom, as well as a Power Stone. And on either flank, we actually have a unit of Demigryph Knights, so the vanilla variant, shielded variant, and we'll see how these guys do. It's not something you're going to see very often out of me. I don't use them all that often, but they're potentially a pretty good unit. They're actually a lot better against infantry than Demigryph Halberds are, which I don't think a lot of people realize because they just always use Demigryph Halberds, but the difference is significant. But for my opponent, this is why I say it's a trolley build on both sides, or a trolley build overall. Brought the Skyhammer, and as you see, I didn't bring any anti-air, so which I kind of blanked out on. And I should have brought like 1 unit of handguns, but you know, hindsight's 2020. He did bring the Skyhammer, so it's immediately gutting across the field to go shut down my Hellstorm rocket batteries. For his front line, my opponent has a bunch of Dwarf Warriors backed by Norgrim's Ironbreakers, an Engineer with, as far as I can tell, all of his abilities, a Runesmith with all of his abilities, and Ungrim Iron Fist with all of his abilities. So super kitted out hero core. Not necessarily what I would recommend, but hey, it's all in good fun. On the back line, more Dwarf Warriors, the Grun Miners, as well as an Organ Gun back here. So not much in the way of anti-armor. So my Greatswords should have a pretty good time once they get into close quarters. But at the same time, he does have some very harsh counters to my Hellstorm Rocket Battery, and my infantry contingent isn't that big. And he does have these Organ Guns who are immediately teaming off on Sigmar Suns and doing quite a bit of work, 15 kills immediately. Meantime, the rockets doing quite a bit of damage here to the Norgrim's Ironbreakers and some of these other troops. And you can see these Dwarf Warriors definitely not having the easiest time of it. And in comes another volley, those rockets just pouring in, kind of whiffing most of it. But, you know, they are able to get some kills. Definitely not pushovers. And the Norgrim's Ironbreakers lose like 1500 HP there on a single hit. Unfortunately, though, after clearing these ruins, you can see these ruins have such a weird box or hitbox. Like, you can't deploy your troops around here, out to here, like past this point. Same thing on this side. This Gyrobomber has to clear like 500 miles up in the sky to get over it. I don't know why. This thing is a ridiculous hitbox, and the CA needs to fix that. But regardless, the Hellstorm Rocket Battery is not going to get dealt with pretty handily by the Skyhammer. I have no way of dealing with it. You can see it immediately blows up one of the guns. And so as I sit and cry, I decide, you know what, I gotta keep these rockets online as long as I can. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull Karl over here to keep their leadership up as long as I can. Meantime, the Hellstorm is firing as much as it can. You can see those explosive shots coming in on the crew and doing a bit of damage. They definitely have more than enough ammo to clean up these crews and do a lot of hurt. See that Hellstorm rocket crew really not having a good time of it. Karl diving in there to try to keep him in, but definitely not good. These guys are waiting for him to fall apart, and they don't want to be there. But I'm going to pop a stand your ground to keep their leadership up, to keep those rockets wailing, and hopefully break up these dwarves a bit. And because my opponent doesn't really have too much shooting, we definitely have a little bit of an advantage here. We're definitely able to sort of swing our Demigryphs around the flank without too much risk. Organ Guns, they can't really take off entire models, fortunately. In the meantime, I do decide, you know what, with my artillery getting shut down pretty hard here, in full retreat now, we are going to have to push in, get some last salvo of rockets coming in. Not really doing their country proud, but hey, they've already done some damage to the Ironbreakers, which was pretty important. My opponent, unfortunately, focusing on the Sigmar Suns. This is not really what you want to be doing. These guns need to be focusing on great swords. If there's one unit his army can handle relatively easily here, it is the Sigmar Suns. Meantime, the Demigryph Halberd just plowing through fire, diving in on the back of the organ gun. You can see entrenchments down, ballistic calibration, all those abilities. But with immigrants in there, they're not going to last at all. And this is something you always never see with immigrants. Normal Lance variant, just plowing through, leading down dwarves, eating blasting torps in the face, probably doing more damage to the warriors for them, and bringing these fools down. See that organ gun going down quickly around it, breaking, wavering, breaking, and it's going to be in full retreat just to go play. And that is going to be a big, big win. See, unfortunately, the immigrants are going to take a bit of a pounding. These guys are down 2 miles because Ungrim, of course, is no pushover, but especially not with Axel Dargo. But we are going to be able to force this organ gun off. We are going to be able to force it to rout, and once it routs, of course, we're going to be able to take it off. Meantime, the front lines have clashed. You can see the satchel charge definitely doing a lot of work to the great swords. Skyhammer coming back to get some pot shots on our rear. You can see these explosive shots. They're kind of whiffing a whole bunch. But the Dwarf Warrior's not really able to hold up, so that's good for us. You can see the spears now flanking around. And spears, they probably can't take on Eco's miners, but they'll be able to bog them down for quite some time. Which really nice. Meantime, Carl dives in on the Northern Bakers, able to lay the smackdown on him a little bit. He actually takes down one there. Faster! Carl, despite being pretty impressive on the offense-wise, he's still going to struggle with the Iron Bakers. They just have such high melee defense. It's 86, so he's got like 15% chance of hitting, I think. It's pretty ridiculous. Elsewhere, with all those buffs going down from the Runesmiths and Ungrim and all those characters, you can see my opponent's army trying to hold that the best it can. The Sea Martians basically goners. But, you know, elsewhere, things are looking good. The Demigrif's still very healthy. These Demigrifs are your Bob organ gun. My opponent doesn't really have too many tools to crack this infantry blob. He's trying to pursue the Jade Wizard with the Skyhammer. But if there's one fight the Jade Wizard probably can take, it's this one. You can see he dives in. He's Life Bloom going down there, which is actually healing him a little bit. And he's able to hit this Skyhammer very consistently because it only has 7 melee defense. And so he's going to have a very solid chance of fighting it out. Anytime the Great Swords here slaughtering these dwarfs, you can see the full-fledged archer and the buckle. And the Demigrifs, you know, I take the Demigrifs out constantly to chase off and slaughter those routed troops, make sure they can't come back. Over here, they're getting stuck in the grind a little bit, but raking a lot of kills against these War Warriors. And Carl is going to dive in on the Skyhammer and just wallop it. That 7 melee defense really just is not where it wants to be in life. And it's in almost immediately. With Carl and the Wizard in hot pursuit, landing another meaty hit there. Even that 100 armor isn't going to save it. Elsewhere in the meantime, you can see the Incan Miners taking forever to try to get through these Spearmen. Unfortunately, my opponent's engineer is still taking pot shots, but we're going to get on top of him with the Demigryph Knights. You can see the guy does have his ballistics calibration activated to help himself, but he's not going to be where he wants to be. Demigryphs are not what you want to be fighting. So they're going to get in there and they're going to start jabbing this guy in the face with their lances. He's waving his hammer around. Yes, General! But although he's going to wallop me in the back there, and Ongrim's going to get in there a little bit, we are going to be able to get away. And I just don't want to be engaging right now. We're going to pull away, dive into the back of the miners, and really start breaking these individual units apart and forcing the retreat. Elsewhere over here, you can see the Demigryph Knights wiping out these War Warriors that try to rally. These Warriors of Dragonfire Pass are not going to live much longer. Of course, those Runes of Oath and Steel do very little against the Great Swords and things like that. And slowly but surely, the break is happening. And you can see my opponent essentially just reduced to Ongrim and the Hero Squad over here, as well as just a handful of these Ironbreakers still holding out with the rear charging Demigryphs. Of course, now we're going to have to be fighting on top of Ongrim, which is not what we want to be doing, but we got to break this last pocket, this last bastion of Dowley resistance. You can see the Great Swords collapsing in from all sides. Unfortunately, huge misplay on my part. I had these Great Swords pursue a unit all the way to the edge here, and they really needed to be back in the fight. So that is not what you would be doing in life, guys. But it is what it is. That's what happened. Over here in the meantime, the Hellstorm out of shots or out of targets, kind of just sitting there being sad. But my opponent is going to throw a Skyhammer into the fight here, but it's not going to last very long. You can see it's down to 77 HP almost immediately, and it's actually going to explode there, going down. So that valuable dwarf engineering being shredded by a bunch of guys with big swords. So hey, watch out. Anytime the Northern Ironbreakers, you can see down to 35 models, just a handful of HP. In come the Demigryph Knights, still very healthy, 22 models. Another unit on 13, and they're actually getting a Chevron. Both getting a Chevron, of course, in this battle. And but our constant stream of buffs means Ironbreakers not able to hold. The Demigryph Knights doing surprisingly well here. I'm actually was really impressed. It's one of these matchups. It's one of the matchups where I don't normally recommend them because of artillery, but I figured if I was going full silly, it would be worth the risk. And it's definitely paid off. You can see the Romans Iron Breakers just get butchered. And although these greatswords will not be able to last forever, certainly, Rune of Wrath and Rune of Down, it's not going to do a lot for the Demigraph Knights. I really should have extricated them sooner though, so they wouldn't be stuck in there, but it is what it is. You can see that we're going to mop up the Dwarf Warriors, and with that, even the Iron Breakers are going to break. And that is going to be essentially gaming. See, the balance of power is still holding strong, just a little in my favor. But we do have that single unit of greatswords slowly but surely making their way back into the fight. And now it's going to be a little bit of drawn-out action as these greatswords do their very best to hack and slash their way through this runesmith and Ungrim and his retinue. So you can see Axe of Dargo going down, trying to get more damage out. Definitely helping a little bit. Demigraphs are going to charge in, back and forth doing some damage. Waste the really bad rocket shot there, doing some friendly fire. We do get some hits there. We're going to get a nice little Earth Blood. And sort of charge these guys to death because I was too lazy to wait for the greatswords. Honestly, with the greatswords, I could have just pushed in. The greatswords would get a nice little surround on them, and they could probably beat them down single-handed, but I opted out of that. You can see Carl Franz here diving in against the engineer, so we're able to beat him down and kill him first, and then surround the runesmith, and then Ungrim's going to be all by his lonesome. And although he's anti-large and pretty potent, he's going to even Demigraph's moving now. Especially with Carl diving in there. Carl's going to lay a few smacks on him and then promptly run away like a coward because I didn't want to lose Carl. And yeah, it's going to be a bit of a slugfest here. Carl pulling in and out, trying not to get killed by Ungrim. In come the greatswords, of course, who will greatly benefit the Imperial forces. Carl here being pursued by a very angry dwarf. Can't catch him. Rockets once again, proving why they're horrible. But Ungrim is going to get surrounded. He's going to get beaten down by all these greatswords. Looking to avenge fallen comrades. And he's down to just a little bit of HP. And at this point, it's just a fast forward to where he gets clocked in the face by Carl, and it's GG. So a big victory for the Empire. Now, definitely a troll game from both sides. My opponent Britash, he brought the Skyhammer. Like, you can't go much more trolly than that. It's one of the worst units in the game, and props to him for doing that. I don't necessarily think it's the most competitive build regardless for what he did. Definitely want to, I think, bring a little more shooting and probably strip down some of the hero items, but hey, it's all in good fun, and it was cool to see the Skyhammer take to the field. As far as my comp goes, obviously I should have probably brought a unit of handguns or two to zone off the flyers. I just didn't really think about it, I guess. I'm trying to think of why. I just didn't think about it. It happens. Oh well. The Hellstorms did some okay work. Obviously, I would have probably been better off with just about any other unit, but given that they got shut down so easily, but hey, what can you do? It was all in good fun. The Demigraphs did a great job. Double chevrons on both. They're a really solid unit in this matchup. If they can get into grips with your opponent, and your opponent doesn't have Slayers, they're really, really solid. And I might be trying them out more often. I think they definitely have a place. People often underestimate just how much more damage they do than Demigraph halberds against infantry. And they can definitely, as you saw, just shred through dwarves. 122 kills is not terrible, especially when they were fighting things like Northern Iron Breakers or Warriors Dragonfire Pass. Definitely some good stuff. But yeah, good game to my opponent. I do hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you found it entertaining to see some rare units there. If you did, be sure to leave a like and subscribe below to keep up with additional content. If you have any comments, any criticism, as usual, do not hesitate to post them, and I will do my best to respond. I do thank you all for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Wyvern out.